is 8:44. Did you know, according to a recent study, we only have 27 seconds to make a first impression? So the question is, in that little amount of time, how do we make it count? Mental toughness expert Eric Rittmeyer joining us now with some tips. Eric, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Likewise, Megan. Thank you for having me back. There was another study, too, that said the average man takes 88 days to say, I love you.
Really? But you only have 27 seconds to make that impression to get him to say that.
What's going on with the gap? There's a gap there. We got to figure this out.
So you sent us some information to kind of get us on track here. And the first thing on the list is master the art of gossip. And that surprised me because you always hear as a young kid, stay away from gossip.
And gossip in just the general sense is bad, right, Megan? Here's the issue with gossiping. When we talk about people, listeners unconsciously associate us with the same characteristics we're describing. So if I gossip to you about somebody else negatively, you're going to view me in a negative light. Well, the good thing is, if I gossip to you positively about somebody else, that makes you look at me positively. So when I talk about gossip, I talk about saying nice things about people behind their backs. It's an amazing thing.
That makes sense. You keep the positivity going and it surrounds you. The second thing on the list, develop your effective presence. What does that mean?
I refer to this like our emotional signature. Effective presence is the way to make somebody feel good about themselves. So if you and I are having a communication and I'm very strong and effective presence, positive effective presence, I leave that conversation, you feel better about yourself. You don't know why. You're just like, I feel good about myself. Unfortunately, there's also negative effective presence. We've met those people. You leave and you're like, I need a nap, right? So it's all about making the other person feel good about how they feel.
And here we are talking about you only have 20-some seconds to make this impression, but you're telling us it's not just about the impression, it's about making connections. So how do we do that so quickly?
Yeah, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So we talk about first impressions, which are critically important, but we also want to connect with that person on a deep level. There's that old saying, right? People will forget the things you say, they'll forget the things you do, they'll never forget the way you made them feel. So what I'm talking about here from connecting is I use an acronym, FROM, F-R-O-M, family, recreation, occupation, motivation. When you meet somebody, try to find something you have in common with them based on one of those four things, instant connection.
Very interesting. So that's going to help you remove the walls. How can you remove some of the walls that might be up with concrete and nails and glue?
As long as it's not plywood, right? Plywood costs so much. I'm not trying to build a wall of plywood these days. So removing the walls is all about being vulnerable, Megan. We have a difficult time with this, especially men. We have a difficult time, but we have to remove that wall. We go into these conversations, we meet people, and we're not being authentic normally. We're trying to be somebody we're not really because we're so worried about the other person. Remove the walls, be vulnerable, just be real. Everybody loves authenticity.
I know the last thing on your list here of how to make that connection, that impression, is to give compliments, know how to receive them as well. How do you do that genuinely? Because I think sometimes people think, oh, you look nice today. It's kind of a throwaway compliment. How do you make it mean something?
Emphasis on genuine, right? You have to be authentic. You have to be sincere. But we have a difficult time with this, not only giving compliments, right? Like I love to give compliments. People sometimes feel uncomfortable telling others that they are beautiful, they have nice eyes, they love their shirt, they have wonderful hair, whatever. But equally as important is being able to receive compliments. The issue is it creates a type of cognitive dissonance with us. So if you say something about me that's nice, in my brain, I probably don't see myself that way. So it creates this cognitive dissonance where our brain says, wait a minute, Megan say nice things, but I don't really see myself that way. Then you reply awkwardly, all because you don't really see yourself the way they said.
Very interesting. Well, Eric, that was a wealth of information, and we really appreciate you joining us this morning.
You're the best, Megan. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. 8:48 here.